Welcome to WSHS Algebra 1 Virtual Tutor. Today's topic is simplifying square roots with variables this time. So if you just listened to how to simplify square roots in the last lesson, now all we're doing is adding variables to our square roots. So as a review, let's think about what our prime numbers are. Our prime numbers that we are working with are 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, 17, 19, 23, and so on and so forth. There are more prime numbers, so just be aware. But these are the common ones you see. So when we simplify the radical with variables, we still break down the number just the same as we did with simplifying just regular radicals by breaking them down into its prime numbers. So you want to break down 63 into its primes. So 63 breaks down to 7, circle it, and 9. 9 is not prime. 9 breaks down to 3 and 3, and circle it. So now we take our prime numbers and we put them inside our square root. 3 times 3 times 7. Now the difference is because we have an x squared and y cubed, you want to write out all of the variables as well. So an x squared is really telling me I have two x's. So I'm going to write that out as x and x. And the y cubed tells me I have 3 y's. So I write that out as y, y, and y. Now, after I write out all the variables, step 4 says we still take out twins. And you still look for twins even if they're variables. So we have one set of 3, so that comes out. We have one set of x's, so they come out just as 1x. And we have one set of y's, so those come out just as 1y. Again, what's happening in between it all is multiplication. We have a square root. And what's left over is we have a 7 left over and a y left over. So that's going to stay inside of our square root. So your final answer here is 3xy square root 7y. So really there's not too much difference here. All you're doing is writing out how many variables you have for each one. Moving along to letter B, we have negative 6 square root 16k to the 4th, j to the 7th. So when we write this out, we got to break down 16. 16 breaks down to 4 and 4, 2 and 2, 2 and 2. So circle twins. Circle prime numbers. Rewrite this negative 6 out in front, your square root. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 2's. We have 4 k's, so I'm going to write my k's in sets of 2's just because I need twins here. So I'm going to write k, k, and then underneath it 2 more k's. And then j to the 7th, so that means we write out 7 j's. Again, I'm going to group them in sets of 2. So j, 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 and a j. Now just know this is all falling underneath the square root sign. When I do this, again, I'm finding sets of twins here. So I have 1, 2, that comes out. I have another 2, that comes out. I have 2 sets of k's, so that makes k squared. And I have 1, 2, 3 sets of j's, and that makes j cubed. Don't forget about the negative 6 in front. Left over in the square root, all we have is a j. Now we have to multiply our coefficients. Negative 6 times 2 is negative 12. Negative 12 times 2 is negative 24. K squared, j cubed, square root j. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your final answer. Letter C, you want to break down 100. 100 breaks down to 10 and 10. 2 and 5, 2 and 5. So we have our square root. 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. For our a's, we have 6 of them. So I'm going to write them out again in sets of 2's, stacking them underneath each other. For b, 12, I have 12. Again, sets of 2, stacking them underneath each other here. and C5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically, you can see whichever one doesn't have a pair doesn't get to come out. Okay? So we are now circling twins. We have a set of 2, so they come out as a 2. We have a set of 5, they come out as a 1, 5. 1, 2, 3, we have 3 sets of A, so that's A cubed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sets of B, so that's B6. 1, 2, 2 sets of C's, square root, and what do we have left over is just this lonely C right here. That's the only leftover thing. So your final answer when we multiply this together is going to be 2 times 5, which is 10, A cubed, B to the 6th, C squared, square root C. Again, the variables, you just write them all out, just like you do all your prime numbers. Letter A for the U try, we're going to break down 28, 7 and 4, 2 and 2. We have this 7 out in front, square root, 2 times 2 times 7, x to the 5th, so I'm going to write out 5 x's. Again, I'm going to stack them in sets of 2, so it's easier. And y4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to find sets of twins. Find a set of twins, that's a 2, they come out. X's and x's, that makes x squared, and I have 2 sets of y's, so that makes y cubed. Square root, 7 and an x are left over. Don't forget about that 7 out in front. You have to carry that down as well, and it stays out front. 7 times 2 is 14. X squared, y squared. Square root 7x. And that is your final answer. There's no additional notes. Let's look at number 1, 64. 64 is actually a perfect square, and the perfect square of 64 is 4. But in case you don't know, you can still break it down. 8 and 8, 2 and 4, 2 and 4, circle 2's, 2 and 2, 2 and 2. So when I go and put this in my square root sign, I end up getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 2's. 4 U's. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 V's. 1, 2, 3, 4. We want to circle sets of twins. 1, 2, 3. So 3 2's come out. And circle sets of U's. U's come out. And they make U squared. Circle sets of V's. V's come out and they make V squared. If you notice, I have nothing left over, so my square root goes away. I do not need it if there's nothing left over. Now I multiply 2 times 2 times 2. That gives me 8u squared v squared. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your final answer. I think above I said the square root of 64 is 4. The square root of 64 is 8, not 4. I'm sorry about that. 250. 250 breaks down to 25 and 10. 10 breaks down to 2 and 5. 5 and 5. We're going to take our primes and put them inside my square root. 2 and 3 5s. And we're going to write out our x's. We have 3 x's. And you have 2 y's. We're going to take out twins. We have 1 set of 5 comes out. 1 set of x's comes out. And 1 set of y's come out. Square root. We have a 2, a 5, and an x left over. So 2 times 5 times x. And when I multiply that together, you get 5xy on the outside, square root 10x on the inside. Number 3, you are going to break down 128. 128 breaks down to 2 and 64. 64 breaks down to 8 and 8. 2 and 4. 2 and 2. 2 and 4. 2 and 2. Again, don't forget about the 5 that's out in front. So you have 5 square root. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 twos. You can also stack your twos up in sets if you'd like. You have 2 A's and 5 B's. You're looking for sets of twins. So we have 1, 2, 3 twos. So we have a 5 on the outside, and then 3 twos come out. 1 set of A and 2 sets of B. So that's A and B squared. Square root. We have a 2 and a B left over. Again, that 5 came down from the outside. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 times 2 is 20. 20 times 2 is 40. AB squared, square root 2B. Next, you have 360. So you want to break down 360. 360 is 2 and 180. 80 is then 2 and 45, 90, sorry, 2 and 90. 90 is 2 and 45. 45 is then 5 and 9. And 9 is 3 and 3. So I'm going to write out all of my prime numbers and my variables. I have 3 2's, 2 3's, and a 5. For my x's, I have 8 x's. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. For my y's, I have 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. And for my z's, I only have 1. Again, you're looking for twins. So we circle our sets of twins. We have 1 set of 2 comes out. We have 1 set of 3 comes out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 x's, so that's x to the 4th. 1 y, and that's it. Square root, we have a 5 left over, a y, and a z. So, make sure there was not up. There was a negative 2 in front. Forgot about that. Bring down the negative 2 in front. So now we're going to multiply our outside numbers together. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. X to the 4th, y, square root 5yz. And that is your simplified expression for radicals. At this time, that concludes the lessons on simplifying radicals with variables. Please take the time to complete the practice problems.